couple of minutes before start time. So I'm just talking to myself while I'm here alone. Hopefully this will work better. Obviously we've had serious issues with Facebook Live today. It just keeps dropping out and it won't let you record a video, which is why we're on YouTube Live instead. Hopefully this will be problem free. I managed to get through the crochet session without any dropouts, so hopefully we'll be okay. I'm not going to start going through anything until it's time. Got a couple of minutes to wait. So it's been a lovely day here today. Well, I'm saying that. It was a bit cool this morning. It's nice now. It's really nice, bright sunshine, warm outside. Bit breezy, but nice and warm. That's all you need, isn't it? Cats have been fairly well behaved today. Although I did have a bit of interference earlier on, but it didn't matter because the video wouldn't work anyway, because I was on Facebook Live at the time and it just kept dropping out. So here we are, and it is now 4:30. I'll just give it another couple of minutes to see if people are going to join, and if not, I'll just stand here and talk to myself. Wouldn't be the first time. So I've got a couple of key rings. Oh, somebody's joined me. That's good. I've got a couple of key rings to show you. We'll briefly have a look at the one we did yesterday, and then I'll show you the one that we're going to do today, and then I'll give you a sneak peek of the one that we're doing on Thursday, which is an owl key ring. And but I will be starting off again in case there are people here today who weren't in the session yesterday. I'm just going to briefly cover off the basic workings of macrame and the basic bread and butter knots of macrame, so that you know what you're going to need in order to make today's keyring. For today's keyring, while we're on that subject, you're going to need 6 cords of about 100, 110, probably 110 centimetres, plus one about foot long, just for doing the wrap at the bottom. So, right, I am gonna start. Can't wait forever. I know we're only a couple of minutes past the start time, but nonetheless. So, as per yesterday, I'm just going to empty these out and show you a couple of different type of attachments for key rings. Some smaller, some small, some bigger. On this one, you could either use that or use that. It's entirely up to you. For today's keyring, we're going to be using this one. These are the wooden rings are the ones that they tend to use for like wall hangings and plant pot holders and anything that is going to need to hold a little bit of weight. But that's the keyring things. I've left the board and the pins here because if you're doing small macrame at home, it's a good way to do your work. You can pin it on, add your cords, and then stick some pins in to keep it in the place. But I'm not going to use it today because yesterday I had a bit of an issue because I was pulling the knots and it started edging off the screen like that, and we lost a bit of the people couldn't see what I was doing. So I won't be using that today. I'm going to use the tried and tested method of sellotape, and then it can't move. So that's what the other side looks like. I got this one from Spoilt Rotten Beads, but you can get them from everywhere, Amazon, you know, any kind of beading or macrame supply shop. They've all got some measurements on them. They've all got these little splits on the side, but I don't use them. So I find it takes too much time. You can just throw your threads out the way if you don't need them. And normally when I'm working, I tend to use the blank side anyway, because I find all that noise in the background quite distracting. So we're going to put that to one side. And this is the keyring that we did yesterday. So it's a couple of hearts, and it basically is using square knots joined with lark's head knots. It's using square knots, and it's using double half hitch knots, and then a wrapping knot to finish. So that was on yesterday's video. That video is on the group already. This is the one we're doing today. It's slightly bigger, longer. I mean, when I say bigger, I mean longer. And this one is double half hitch knots, square knots, jumbo square knot, and wrapping knot again. So just the standard bread and butter type knots. And this little monkey is what we're going to be doing on Thursday. Now, I've done him in a 2mm macrame cotton, and as you can see, he's not massive, and obviously you can trim these tails to whatever size you need. I had the devil's own job getting the yarn through, and these are quite large hole beads, so you will need a couple of large hole beads for his eyes. And if you want him to be a bit bigger, then just use a slightly bigger or a different width of cotton. Use a 3mm cotton or a 4mm cotton. Right, if you use 4mm, it'd probably be massive, but that's a sneak peek of what we're going to do on Thursday. So we'll get right on it. And just for the sake of this, I'm going to use this for the just to demonstrate the basic stitches. We're not going to spend a massive amount of time on it because it is all in yesterday's video and they were on screen. So I'm going to sellotape that down, and then I'm going to zoom in a bit. Oh, tell you what, let's move the sellotape, zoom in a bit, and then put that in a good place, like about there. That'll do. So I'm going to use the same cotton that I used yesterday. So mountain knots, lark's head or reverse lark's head. If you bring the cord up through and tighten it up that way, that's what they call a reverse lark's head knot. This, fold it in half, grab the center. If you push it down through the ring and then thread your ends through and cinch it up, you've got the bump at the front, that one's got the bump at the back. For the purposes of this basic stitches, doesn't really matter. But depending on what pattern you're doing, you might need one look as opposed to the other. So what am I doing? Going to do another one of them, and then I'm going to do another one of them on the outside. So in half, down through for a normal lark's head knot. Pull the ends through there. So there you've got a lark's head knot Oh, that didn't work. My sellotape's not very good, is it? A lark's head knot on either side and a reverse lark's head knot, which just looks like a lark's head on the reverse, obviously. 2 reverse in the middle. So, okay, I'm going to stick that in again, and then I'm going to add another thing of sellotape. Okay. There. Hopefully that'll be better. So, bread and butter knots. We're going to start with a square knot. Now, the thing to be aware of in macrame, basic macrame, and it's where I went wrong at the beginning, is you need to identify your working cords and you need to identify your filler cords. So for a square knot, you will need 4 cords to make a square knot. And what you do is you take the 2 outside cords. They're going to be your working threads. The 2 inside cords are going to be your filler threads. So you can either have a left hand square knot or you can have a right hand square knot. And we'll do one of each just so you can see the difference. A square knot is always comprised of 2 parts to it. And if it's a left hand square knot, it starts off with the left hand half square knot, which means you bring the left cord over the top of your 2 filler cords, like that. You then take the right cord, bring it over the top, and then push it under and bring it out in between your filler cords and your outside left cord. Then you cinch it up. Now, what you need to do on all stitches, this one it's not quite so bad, but certainly when you get onto the half hitch, you need to keep the tension on your filler cords and let these 2 cords do all the wrapping and bending and all the work. Your working cords do the work. So that is the first half of a left hand square knot. The second half is to do a right hand half square knot, which means you put the right yarn over the filler cords, you bring the left yarn over, and then you tuck it under and bring it up through in between your right cord and your fillers. Keep the tension on the fillers, pull up your 2 working cords and cinch. Now, the reason that's called a left hand square knot is because your bump is on the left hand side here. So now, right hand square knot, it's the same, only in reverse. So again, the centre 2 cords will be the fillers, but we're starting, it's a right hand square knot, so it's going to start with the right hand half. So you'll do right cord over, bring the left cord over the top, and then tuck it under and pull it through in between the filler cords and the right hand cord, and then tighten it. Keep the tension on your filler cords, keep them nice and straight, and tighten that up. That's one half done. So it's a right hand knot. We started with the right, so the second part of it is a left hand half square knot. So left cord over, right cord over the top of that one, tuck it under and bring it up through in between the filler cords and the left hand cord, and then you tighten it up. Keep the tension on your filler cords and cinch that up. You can see the difference. One of them, the bump's on the left, one of them, the bump's on the right. So that's a right hand square knot, that is a left hand square knot. If it calls for alternating square knots, what that means is you've done 2 square knots. If you are doing alternating square knots, you do them all in the same direction, whichever you prefer, it doesn't really matter. Me, I tend to gravitate towards left-hand square knots. So for alternating, we're going to push out the 2 outside cords on either side, and then we're going to alternate. So the next square knot is going to be the centre 4 cords. And we're going to stick with left hand now because that's just the way I roll. So left cord over, right cord down over the top, and then under and through like so. Tension on your filler cords, cinch it up. So and then the right side over, bring the left one down, under and through. Tension on your filler cords. That's it. You see all the bumps are on that side. So if you are wondering how those spiral type things are, key rings and cords are done, all that is to make a spiral is you would do a left hand half square knot and another left hand half square knot and another left hand half square knot, or right hand. But basically you choose a half square knot and you just repeat it over and over, and that will naturally create a spiral in the work. You just have to keep turning your work so it's at a comfortable viewing angle. Then the next one we're going to cover is a half hitch and a double half hitch. So obviously they are, as you would expect, a half hitch is just one loop. A double half hitch is 2 loops. So the way you do that is you choose a working cord. You could do that here. In fact, we will do it here. Or you could choose this one. You could do a working cord and come down that way. But what we'll do here, because I'm going to show you how you can change the direction as well if you want to. So we're going to I'm sticking a little bit of sellotape on that a minute. Stick that bit down. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to come out in and make one of those diagonal lines going down this way. So you split your cords in half, and the inside most of each half is the filler cord. These 3 cords will then become the working cords for this. Similarly, that becomes your filler cord, and they will become working cords. So we've decided we want to go down at a diagonal. You could go straight if you wanted to. You could go at a diagonal. You could go up at a diagonal if you wanted to, but that would look weird. So the way you would do a half hitch knot, grab your filler cord, hold it in the direction you want it to go. You need to keep a little bit of tension on it, not super tight, but just keep a bit of tension on it. And for this knot in particular, if you don't keep your tension on the filler cord, it's not going to look right. It's going to all just, like go into some kind of weird shaped knot that you can't, that doesn't look like anything. So filler cord will always come across the top of the work, and then these cords, the working cords, will start underneath. And this is how we're going to do a double half hitch, or a half hitch to start with. Put the working cord coming from underneath over the top. Bring it down on the inside of the knot like that and cinch it up. That is a half hitch knot. A double half hitch knot is basically repeat the same thing again. Bring the cord over, put it onto the inside of the knot. Now, if you don't keep the tension properly on this, you can get all manner of weird shaped knots here. So what you need to do is keep the tension in the direction you want it to go and make this cord do all the curling and bending. There, tighten it up. So then you take your next cord, same again, double half hitch, over the top, under and through. There's going to be a loop here, that's fine. Cinch it up. Same again. And that's another double half hitch done. And the final cord here, see there? Keep the tension on this. Okay. So that's where you get all those nice lines from in your macrame. And we're going to do the same on this side. So we'll pull it down this way, double half hitch, coming from underneath, over the top, up through, cinch it up. Next one. Okay, so now you've got two lines going down. Now, I'm going to show you this quite simply because you're going to need to know it for the keyring. So this is the filler cord that we used to come down, and then those are the three working cords that came off it. Now, I'm done. I'm at the end now. I want to change direction. And when I come back, I'm going to be going in that direction. All you do is move that cord to the direction that you want to go, continue with your working cords, keep the tension on your filler cord, cinch up your working cord, and that will start next cord. Now obviously we'll be putting square knots and such like in between the top and the bottom of these lines. However, what you could do is, for example, keep those two center cords free. Don't work them into that straight away. Stick a bead on there and then do your double half hitch. But for the purposes of this, we are just gonna double half hitch the remainder on both sides, and then that is going to be it. We're not going to cover the wrapping knot in this basic stitches. We'll get to that at the end. So that's, you can see there, I've made that. You can make these lines go in any direction you want just by holding your filler cord in the direction that you want it to go, and then making your working cords cinch it into that direction basically. So this side we're at the outside, we're now going to bring that in like so. So bring your filler cord into the direction you want it to go and do some more double half hitch. But when you're on these end ones, really make sure you cinch those corner knots right up so that it does look like a continuous curve. We'll do one more. Oh no, the white terror's coming. Let's hope it can stay off the macrame. Yeah. Okay, so you see what effect that gives. A bead in the middle of there would look quite nice, obviously. That's it. That's all we're going to do for the basic. For now, for this particular part of it, we're going to get straight on now to the keyring tutorial. Could you move that way, please? Thank you. You're blocking the light. Right. So for the keyring, we're going to need 6 cords of 110 centimeters. We'll shove that out of the way. And then you'll need one sort of 10-12 inch cord just for the final wrapping. So I've got all my cords ready here, and I'm going to attach it. I'm going to show you a slightly different way of doing your lark's head or reverse lark's head, whichever. If you want to, rather than sticking, rather than bending the yarn in half and sticking the loop through, if you want to, you can stick this end through. And slightly gone off. So what you do is just, I shouldn't have sellotaped it down, of course. Lift that off a little bit. You would stick the 2 ends through, and then basically just put them in between and pull, and you'll. Oi! Don't be knocking stuff on the floor. Then basically that's it. Just cinch it up. So we're going to add all 6 cords to the whatever you're using, ring, pencil, key ring, whatever. Add all 6 cords using a lark's head knot. And one more. Right, that's all 6 cords attached. So now I will sellotape this back down. Okay. Right, so you've now got 6 cords, which means 6 cords folded in half, which means 12 cords coming down the length of your keyring. So what we're going to do is take to start with. Split them into 4s. I'm going to start by making a square knot on the 2 outside sets of 4. You can do a left hand or a right hand, whichever you prefer, but just make a square knot. As long as you keep them all in the same direction, it'll be fine. So going over with the right, we're bringing the left one under and up through. There's one square knot. We're ignoring the centre 4 for now. We're going to do another square knot. Left hand over, right cord over, under and up through. Tension on the filler cords. Over with the right for the second half of the square knot. Tension on the filler cords. So the just having a look there. There's no queries or comments. So what we're going to do to start this off, we're going to start doing some double half hitch, but just to start it off, we're going to join these 2 cords together, just so it doesn't. We'll just do 1 half hitch knot like so. Right, and then obviously we're going to bring them down like this. So what we're going to do is do a diagonal from the center to the outside edge on both sides. So we're going to double half hitch. You've got your 1 filler cord there, and then you are going to double half hitch the 5 working cords down to the side, to the edge, and keep your tension fairly tight, and make sure that when you've done them, you do cinch them up together to get a nice neat line. That's working cord 4 we're on. And finally, working cord 5. Okay, that's that side done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then what we're going to do is bring these, this is your filler cord, and we're going to do the same on this side, work down at a diagonal. Double half hitching. All the way down. Just cinch it up. You can't sit there. The The white terror is at it again. It's got an uncanny knack of whenever I start trying to do a YouTube or anything like that, it just comes and sits and either blocks the light or sticks his feet in the camera or whatever. So, and he's quite persistent usually. So right, there we have our 2 double half hitch lines. Now, this keyring's going to be in like 3 parts. So what we're going to do is take the centre on the top diamond, if you like. We're going to take the centre 4 to start with, and we're going to do a square knot. Keep your tension on the filler cords, keep them flat, because that will give you your square knot the right shape. Do another. Right, there's a 1 square knot right in on the centre 4 cords. Now we're going to do alternating square knots. So you're going to pull out the outside 2 on each side, push them out of the way, and then we're going to split the remaining cords into 2 sets of 4. And then we're going to do another square knot on each set of 4. That's 1. Another square knot on this set of 4. I'm doing left hand, remember, so the left cord goes over first, the right cord goes down, under and up through between the filler cords and the left hand cords. Keeping the tension on your filler cords, keeping them nice and flat, and then finish off this square knot with a half right hand, down, under and through. Reuben, you've been a pest, mate. Then tension on the filler cords and cinch it up. Now, if you've only cut 1 meter cords, you can go straight to, get off. You can go straight into the next step. In fact, you know, we'll all just do that. So the next step will be take off the outside 2 cords again. You've already got those 2 pushed out to one side. Take off the other outside 2 and do 1 more square knot in the middle. What you can do, if you want to, before you do this step, you can add another. If you cut 110 centimetre cord, you can do another square knot either side of there, underneath those 2. You can do 1 under each before you do this final square knot. But what we're going to do right now is just do this. So we've got a 1 square knot, then 2 square knots, back down to 1 square knot, and that's your alternating square knots. Gives you a nice pretty little pattern and some nice texture. So as per the basic that we were talking about, what we want to do now, because we're going to make like a diamond shape here, this filler cord that's coming out of that line is going to be the filler cord to come down this way as well. And the way to change direction is literally just hold the filler cord in the new direction that you want to go. So you'll bring it down like this, and you will start your double half hitch, keep the tension on this filler cord, and you will cinch it right up, sort of right onto the corner. You'll do the same again, holding your filler cord in the direction that you want it to go, and it will naturally curve this for you. And then you just double half hitch in the normal fashion all the way down to the center. Filler cord's always on top. It comes from underneath, it goes over the top, and then it goes under and through, so that the loose cord is in the center of the knot, and that's what cinches it up to the one next to it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the last one. Remember, 6 cords a side, one of them is your filler cord. So once you've done 5 working cords down that side, you stop. Then this is your filler cord from this line here, and this is the one we want to bring that away. So same thing, hold the cord in the direction you want to go, and then double half hitch all the way down on your first cord, cinch it right up on that corner so it's nice and tidy. And then just keep that cord in the direction you want it to go, and continue with a double half hitch on every other working cord down to the center. Got 1, 2, 3. 4. Yeah, done with that one. And the final one here. 5. So as you can see, got a lovely diamond shape there. And then what we're going to do, just to join these two sides together, is we're going to do almost just like a normal knot, basically. What you want is to make sure that it is coming down when you've knotted it. You have got one thread coming out in each direction, ready for the next set of stitches. So we're going to kind of repeat this, except that it's going to be a 3 motif repeat. So That's going to be your first motif. The middle one, the middle diamond, is going to have one of those giant square knots like that in it, and then the bottom one will be the same as that. So same as we did up here at the start, the first thing we're going to do is take the outside 4 cords on each side, shove the middle ones down here out the way for now, take the outside 4 cords and make a square knot both sides. You don't have to make a square knot. If you want to, you could just make the start of your next diamond shape with double half hitch knots. But what that will do is give you a long kind of loopy string from one outside corner of the diamond to the next outside corner of a diamond. What the square knot does is it just fills in that gap, and it doesn't give you 4 loose strands sort of down the side. Some people like that look. If you do like that look, you can miss out this square knot if you want to. You don't have to put it in. It's a good thing about macrame. You can do it to suit yourself. So that's that side. Do the same on this side. Square knot, filler cords, left cord over the top, right cord down, under and up through. Tension on the filler cords. Oops. That's my sellotap's lost its stick, I think. Let's stick that a bit further up now. Okay, so where were we? Yeah, filler cords. We're cinching up. We've done the left hand half. Now we're going to do the right hand half. Right one over, left one down, under and up through. Tension on the filler cords. Cinch it up. Okay. So now we're going to do the same here. We're going to do the double half hitches out to the corners. So this is going to be your filler cord, and these are going to be your working cords. So obviously the working cords all come underneath the filler cord. We'll shove them out of the way for now. So we'll go in over, up through towards the centre, cinch it right up there. There's one. Next cord. Now you can use this to adjust how you want that square knot to sit as well. Pull it tighter if you want it closer, etc. But just making sure that you cinch it up to the other double half hitch knot. And then do the second part, which kind of locks it in place at that point. Yeah. And what I try and do is pull them out. I look up here at the spaces, at how long that little cord is, and try and match these to match. Doesn't have to be perfect, does it? But as long as it's there or thereabouts, it'll look decent. So we'll double half hitch. Double half hitch. And finally, obviously you need a bit of a longer cord than here, but that's okay. It's going to naturally happen anyway when you cinch that up. That's pretty decent. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to carry on talking for this next little bit, and then I'm going to speed up and go through the rest of it quite quickly until we get to the gathering knot, and then I'll talk it through again. Okay, right, so we're there at the outside edge of the next diamond. So the next thing we're going to do is one of those big chunky square knots. So normally you would have 4 cords in a square knot, 1 doing each job. This time we're going to split it, so we're going to double up the number of cords. So there's going to be 2 for the left hand wrap, 2 for the right hand wrap, and 4 as the filler cords. But we're still going to do it exactly the same way. So we're going to do your left hand over. You're going to bring the cord under and up through. It's just like a normal square knot, apart from the fact you've got 4 strings in the middle and you've got 2 strings on either side. And what you do is, just doesn't have to be super flat, but try and keep the filler cords in the right orientation. So there's one half of it, and we're going to do the same with the right. Bring that over, bring the left hand down, push those 2 cords under and bring them up through. And all you want to do here is make your square knot look nice. You might have to, move the cords around slightly. But you get them to where you're happy, and there you have your giant square knot. I'm not happy with that one though. There we have it. There we have it. So it's one of these. There we are. That's better. I took that into place. So there's a giant square knot. So that's all we're doing now. So the next thing we're going to do is the same as before. 1, 2. Come on, stuck again. Stick it over there. Can move it up slightly. So the next thing we're going to do is bring the filler cords down. We're changing direction, so just make sure you do that. And then you're going to wrap your 5 working cords. Five. So 5. Yeah. Same here. Bring this one down towards the centre. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to finish this off after 2. What you can do is use this as a kind of a basic guide on how to, and then it's up to you. If you prefer the look of the giant square knot, you can do 1, 2, 3, however many you like. You can do them all with the alternating square knot, you could do them all with the giant square knot, or you could switch it up, whichever you prefer. And in this particular case, I'm going to end it here, because I literally am standing here talking to myself. So to finish it, I am just going to do that other knot just to bring the two sides together. And I'm actually not going to bother with the gathering knot today. I'm going to show you a different way to finish it. Well, I'm going to do a gathering knot. But yesterday, what I did when I was doing this last row of double half hitch, I was adding a cord in every time. So every time you did a double half hitch, it was over the filler cord plus the one cord that you just used. So you ended up doing capturing all 5 working cords. I'm not going to do that today. So you've got options here. Now, if you wanted to, you could, plait a few or whatever. Or you can just grab them all like that and do your wrapping cord. Or you can finish it off the way that I finished off yesterday's keyring. But for today's tutorial, I'm going to just do a wrapping knot. And what I always do when I'm doing a wrapping knot is I turn the work over, so I'm putting my knot on the back side, and it helps you to see how tight it is. So what you need to do is stick one end down, make a loop at the other end, and then with this end start wrapping. Doesn't matter where, you can move it up and down by adjusting, pulling on these strings here. What I'm going to do is move that up slightly so you can get a better look. So we've got the string coming down, we've made a loop, and then we've started. We're just going to pinch that about there, doesn't really matter. And then we're going to start wrapping this end. Now, the one thing to point out is, whichever end your loop is, that's the direction you need to wrap. So we've started there. So now we're going to wrap over, and you're going to wrap just really close to the previous wrap until you've got as many wraps as you want. So on the front side now we've got 3. We'll do a couple more. 4, 5. Yeah, so that's it. That's 5 wraps. So now what you do is, with the end that you've been wrapping, you push it through the loop and pull it up, or just pinch it there. Then the other end of your wrapping knot, you're going to pull that loop. Keep that taut. You're going to pull that loop. Oops, wrong one. Pull the right string. Pull the loop. If it's going to be a similar length to the rest of these cords that you've got down here, wrap a bit of sellotape or a bit of masking tape or something around it so that you know which string to pull. And what you're going to do is pull that loop down inside the knot like that. And once you've done that, you can then yank both ends at the same time and really cinch it up tight. That's it. The only thing left to do then is you can cut this end off because it's just going nowhere. So that bit's cut off. The other bit, doesn't matter, you can just leave it dangling and it can go into your fringe. Now, as you can see, you can have it loose and low down if you want to, like that. If you decide that looks terrible, all you need to do is get hold of these cords and start pulling them. Not that much. You want to try and just basically start hitching them up one at a time. Pull and adjust. Each one. So that side looks all right. This side still needs a bit of adjusting. So it's going to be some of these over here. There you go. Not that one, that's me wrapping knot. But you can see the cords moving as you tug each piece of string. There we are. And that's it adjusted. And then all that remains to be done is cut off this at whatever length you choose. Just take your scissors, cut it off, and then you can either leave it as a string, like that, like it looking like cord, or if you want to, you can take a comb or a brush and brush it out. It depends how many strands there are in your cord as to how good, bad, or indifferent that'll look. But that's it for today. For today's tutorial, we're doing basic granny squares tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. Hopefully Facebook Live will be working again. If not, we'll go on here. Okay, that's it then. Bye for now, ladies.